Hey guys, Cat7 here. Okay, it is Sunday, April 7th, 2019, and I want to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. And hit the like button, guys. If you kindly would, that would be very helpful and support the channel. Okay, I got an excellent article to read for you today about Sacsayhuaman. I'm sure you heard of it before. Maybe you subscribed to Brian Forster or you saw it on the History Channel. But basically, Sacsayhuaman is this site on the northern outskirts of the city of Cusco, Peru, the historic capital of the Inca Empire. And again, I'm sure you're familiar with it. And just look at this picture for a second, okay? If it will come up. You see that? Okay, take a real hard look at that. I want like the skeptics, the people who don't really believe in geopolymer or geopolymer concrete or anything like that. Take a look at these things, okay? These megalithic polygonal blocks here. Take a good hard look at them, okay? And if you don't see this and say to yourself, it looks like there's sort of like we're like some sort of concrete geopolymer or whatever it was. It got molded into these shapes and they was like scraping it down the sides or whatever they needed to do to get it all in there and cut all of these angles. And I mean, are you effing blind? Maybe you need your eyes checked or something like that. Come on. Get with the effing program already. All right? Anyway, guys, that aside, just let's get to this because this article is about this 30,000-year-old hidden writing system discovered at Sacsayhuaman. And it's related to my own research in the sense that the research I did up with Jimmy in Vermont, I call the Stonewall Code, okay? When I went up to visit Jimmy in Springfield, Vermont at his home, all right? And then up on Mount Ephraim, about 20, 30 miles away, okay, with these incredible stone walls that had some sort of system of communication in them, either, through effigy or, I mean, we already know and it's widely accepted about the effigies in the New England area. And look, guys, this is the biggest, largest area of archaic man-made stone construction in the world. The biggest area. It says it not has the most stone or whatever, although it has, as Barbara DeLong says, 500,000 miles of stone walls, and the majority of them being built by these archaic, unknown peoples that we know nothing about, okay? And this is how it relates to my own work in that way. And also, I had mentioned in my videos before about Dr. Robert Schoch, and how he has said in interviews that he thought that there were messages in the megalithic constructions around the world, hidden messages, okay? So anyway, here's this article from 2016 on this site, Ancient Code, okay? So I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to try to get through it because there's a lot to talk about with this, and I wanted to talk about some other things, but as you can see, it's not such a far-fetched thing for me to come up with this with Jimmy, looking at the stone walls, which were amazing, okay? Besides the other sites, other people like Dennis D., for example, and just recently with a subscriber to my channel, North Country Relics, he found this pile of large stone in the middle of this stone wall area, a hearth, a naturally formed hearth there, just unbelievable, excellent work going out there to find this thing. And it came to my mind because I did do the research in Vermont with Jimmy. Okay, and we came to the conclusion, and now that I read, Charles C. Mann's book, I'm up like 150 pages into it, 1491. I can say with conviction now, really, that the Aboriginal peoples there, going way back beyond the Iroquois and the Husqvarna or whatever they're called, the Hornacy. That's the Iroquois is a French name. It's not the name of the people. It's just forget about that. It's all phony baloney. Most, Indian tribe names were given because they either lived in the area. That was what the area was called. Okay, or it was a pejorative name from a neighboring tribe given to them. So that's where all the Indian and native peoples get their names from, these names, the places they were at, and the negative names that were other tribes called them. So these people didn't call themselves anything. They call themselves their names, or whatever it is, wherever they lived, and they just didn't go beyond that. Didn't need to. And so a shout out to North Country Relics for finding some amazing things. And I hope the guy continues doing it, because it's just, we're just hitting the surface here, guy. We're scratching the surface here. There's just so much stonework in New England and Canada, New York, and everywhere else, Chambers, and you name it, okay? We got a lot of stuff here. The rest of the United States was like obliterated by interplanetary electrical discharge, so we don't know what that was. It was just as advanced as everything in the Central America and South America, in different ways. Okay, and also a shout out to Brian Gigliotti, who just found this cairn out there in Connecticut, in Moosup, Connecticut. Another guy who's out there, has hardly any subscribers, doing amazing work. He even takes the azimuth of these things, which I had wanted to do, except my stuff was stolen. I had an engineer's, or surveyor's compass, and I wanted to do that stuff, but all my stuff was stolen while I was traveling, doing my research. In any case, guys, back to this article. Just a shout out to Brian there, and North Country Relics, and some amazing work. Okay, so let's get through this article here so we can talk about this, because this is just fascinating. And I don't think anybody on YouTube has talked about it yet. Okay, according to a researcher, there is a 30,000-year-old hidden writing system at the megalith site of Sacsayhuaman. Many people firmly believe that highly complex and advanced societies existed on our planet thousands of years ago. These ancient civilizations developed highly sophisticated writing systems and technologies that are lost in today's mainstream view of history. A 30,000-year-old writing system at Sacsayhuaman would not only change the way that mainstream scholars consider history, but would alter the understanding of ancient mankind forever. Okay? I'm not saying it. This guy's saying it. And I think a mainstream researcher is doing the work, too. The ancient megalithic fortress of Sacsayhuaman is located at an elevation more than 12,000 feet in the northern outskirts of the city of Cuzco, Peru. Like many Inca sites, Sacsayhuaman features astonishing, precisely cut stonework, but not all of it was credited to the Inca. What is an interesting fact here is that the Inca themselves believed the site was constructed by an earlier unnamed race of people led by a mighty god who descended from the skies in an airplane of some sort or another flying machine made right here on Earth, folks. Homegrown. Even though the numerous studies have been performed on the site, Sacsayhuaman remains shrouded in mystery. It remains a mystery as to how ancient cultures managed to transport and quarry the megalithic stones we see today at Sacsayhuaman. These mighty blocks of stone have caught the attention of numerous researchers around the world who have tried desperately to solve the mystery behind this ancient complex. Among them is Dr. Derek Cunningham, a published author and researcher who has proposed a controversial theory that might explain, at least partially, the gigantic blocks of stone at Sacsayhuaman. After studying the ancient fortress, Dr. Cunningham proposed that the mysterious angles formed by the megalithic blocks of stone revealed ancient knowledge of astronomical alignments of the moon, the sun, and our planet, as well as lunar and solar eclipses. So, another astronomical observatory. It is well known that many ancient cultures built their monuments and cities based on astronomical alignments, but Dr. Cunningham went beyond orthodox theories and proposed a hypothesis which revolves around the idea that ancient civilizations, like the builders of Sacsayhuaman, developed an intricate writing system, which dates back at least 30,000 years. Okay, so we keep going back in time, guys. Like I said, the evidence of ancient Americas, the two continents here, was erased by a great cataclysm in the past, but even in the recent past. Okay, and that's why there's no evidence of everything, because it was completely destroyed here in the Americas. And that's why they keep coming up with this older and older. And they'll come up with older stuff. Don't worry. I've heard 40,000 years already. Okay? It's getting older and older. All right? This ancient form of writings was base of geometrical forms taking in count the motion of both the moon and the sun. According to his theory, the astronomical values considered as central to predict eclipses are converted into quote-unquote angular values. Okay? So, angular values. Telling you, even the people in the Northeast here are more intelligent than we're led to believe, okay? If you're wiped out from some more sophisticated civilization in the past, you're not bringing your 55 Chevy with you and your washing machine and your color TV and your iPhone, and you're not bringing that with you into this world, but you're bringing everything in your head with you, okay? That stuff only lasts so long, and then it's gone after a couple of 100 years. And after a couple of 1,000 years, totally gone. And then where are you? Okay? As if you could get back to that again. Because the average person is not a physicist or an engineer. Or, those were the people who were left to create these societies. The only ones left. Okay, Sacsayhuaman isn't the only place where such a writing system is found, says Dr. Cunningham. Perhaps up here in the Northeast. Interestingly, this researcher claims that an ancient astronomical writing system can be found in both Lascaux and Chauvet caves in Europe, the Ishango Tally bone from Africa, and other ancient sites. That's very interesting right there. Maybe Dr. Shock was referring to this research. I don't know. And, I came up with my thing with the stone walls with Jimmy in Vermont, okay, before I heard anything that Dr. Robert Shock said or see in this article a long time ago, independently of them, okay, so I'm just trying to get that across. And if you take a look at this is showing all the angles that the good doctor that did the research on this is, it's controversial research, but it seems that he's a mainstream guy and he's doing this research. But you notice something about this, don't you? Okay, and I don't know if you're familiar with Sylvia's work, Sylvia's work at on her channel New Earth, and her deal with this was probably the earliest star fort. This was probably like the first star fort. And if you notice these walls and the patterns and the pattern in the article here, okay, she had hypothesized that this was, like a star fort design. And then she showed other star forts with similar kinds of designs that aren't so, orthodoxically, symmetrical and all that kind of stuff. But even the symmetrical star forts are all, pointed to the cardinal points. It's not done haphazardly. There's an effort to do it in a certain way. But there are some asymmetrical style star forts as well. Okay, and maybe Sacsayhuaman was one of the first ones. And I had mentioned this to my buddy who's a subscriber to my channel. I subscribe to his channel, okay, at Ancient History Criticisms. And he's into the beveled block. I mean, he specializes in this and this sort of standardization. And I had mentioned this when I saw his latest video here, Domes on Columns, at this, supposed ancient Roman structure, temple structure. But, here's his specialty, are these bevel blocks that are found all over the place, all around the world, okay? And it's just like, the polygonal construction, also found all over the world. Okay, polygonal masonry in Peru, megalithic Japan. I mean, this is just, I put polygonal stone walls, the H blocks, a lot of Inca stuff, but there's Turkey and, and also the metal clamps that are found, ancient clamping technology found all over the earth, ? By Mystery History. I subscribe to that. Here's Vlad 9VT showing some of these clamps. Here, I subscribe to him. Zeg TV, I subscribe to him. Okay, so you have this sort of, worldwide standardization going on, and, with construction methods, techniques, etc. And it's in more than one thing. It's in ideas, etc. So star forts could just be, some standardized method. I mean, it's hardly surprising in more modern times because you could import that from anybody who's an architect or an engineer. At times, hire them for money to do it and whatnot. But I'm saying going back in time. And Sylvia from New Earth was the first one to really say, I mean, she's the first one to really talk about all this alternative stuff. But said that, it looked like to her to be kind of a star fort. Okay? And, shout out to my buddy there. Excellent video, by the way. And again, this beveled block found all over the place. This stylization in the block all over the place. Another type of standardization that was, and you have to think about it going further back in time. These people supposedly had no communication with each other that we know of before certain dates in certain civilizations. And it seems to be a worldwide standardized thing. Okay. Now, quote, now substantial evidence has also been discovered that this archaic writing was used perhaps almost continuously until 500 years ago, unquote, states Cunningham. Again, my research in the Northeast, okay? I'm probably the first guy, me and Jimmy, the first guy researchers to come up with this stuff about the stone walls of New York and New England and Lower Canada in the Northeast. According to oh shoot, according to Dr. Cunningham, he became fascinated with the ancient site when he noted extremely unusual patterns in other archaeological sites in Europe. The finding led him to research other ancient sites, hoping to discover similarities among them. To his fortune, he found that the placement and angles of the megalithic stones at Sacsayhuaman revealed an extraordinarily ancient secret. Cool. Okay, another. Okay, it seems very obscure sort of thing or whatever, but this is what you have to look for. These people were more intelligent than you think and more complex than we can think. And again, I always mention this in my videos now because I'm not sure that everybody really gets it. Just if there was some sort of advanced anything in the past, whatever it was, I have no idea, okay? But whatever it might have been in the past, that sort of defies, that's why psychologically people always go straight to aliens, because that's what makes sense to them. I can see why, it's a very romantic idea in its science fiction sense. And that's our fascination with that is just, limitless. But, it's just, you have to think this is more like in alternative reality universe kind of ways that these people had technologies or what they could do the best they could or we don't know how many advanced civilizations there could have been in the past. According to the Vedas, the Indian Vedas, it's like billions of years or whatever. And, according to the Thunderbolts Project, they don't believe in the whole aging of the solar system thing and whatnot. They got it all wrong. And the Big Bang is nonsense and everything else. But, okay, on with this. Quote, each astronomical value, there are 9 standard values in total, was chosen by ancient astronomers to aid the prediction of eclipses. These astronomical terms are a mixture of values scientists use to measure time, the 27.32-day sidereal month, and values to determine when the moon, earth, and sun align at nodes. This includes the use of the 18.6-year nodal cycle of the moon, the 6.511 draconic months period between eclipse seasons, and also the 5.1 degree angle of inclination of the moon's orbit. So this is a very complex thing, okay, that these people were savvy to, according to this researcher. The remaining values typically are either half values of various lunar terms or values connected to the 11-day difference between the lunar and solar years, unquote, Dr. Cunningham says. I honestly do not care whether I am right or wrong about this, he concludes. Quote, all I have found so far is that the data is what it is. The potential of the idea to explain some things about so many sites from the pyramids of Egypt to the Atacama giant in Chile is obviously very controversial, and it should be. But if correct, it could rewrite some aspects of our understanding of not only the Stone Age, but also world history. Okay? If, on the other hand, scholars prove this particular astronomical theory wrong, then we can move on, knowing that it has been sufficiently tested. What is most intriguing is that a completely new window may have been opened into the past, unquote, says Dr. Cunningham in an article in Popular Archaeology. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. And I guess that's it. That's the end of the article, but it's by this fellow. Ancient Code was founded in 2012 by author and researcher Ivan Petricevic. The website is based on the ancient astronaut theory, but it also offers its readers a vast collection of articles about history, mythology, lost civilizations, etc. So it's an interesting online magazine, blog, whatever. So in any case, guys, that's the end of the article. But look, I mean, it just shows you that what I'm proposing about the walls in New England, in some of the more ceremonial, spiritual areas. Obviously, Jimmy's property is definitely one of them. And, you see this thing right here. That's the split stone at Jimmy's property. And this is a really interesting one. And this is very common stone in his area, which is kind of strange because the native stone, which is right in this hillside over here, is white quartz. And it appears to be some evidence of quarrying on his property, okay, of this white quartz and this type of stone that's found in this area. But this isn't. Jimmy didn't really know where this came from. And he has more of it down on his lower property as I go over in my video series. And these very interesting areas of the wall, just certain areas where the stones create some, either, besides effigies themselves, just odd patterns of constructions in the wall that seem to, they, like I said about Jefferson coming up to Long Island to get these people's languages recorded and all this kind of stuff when he was interested in that stuff. In 1791, he also took their numerals, so these people had knowledge of numbers. Okay, so you have all these different things: standing stones, marker stones, lunar and solar astronomical placements of whatever it is. It's trying to say something. These people, whether it be the bent trees you'll find on Indian trails pointing in the direction that you should be following the trail. I mean, this language is done in so many different ways, and I've gone over this before in my articles. And just like Dr. Robert Schoch said, he suspected that there were messages in many of these megalithic sites, and maybe he's talking about what this guy says, this Cunningham guy, or whoever he is there. Cunningham. So, don't think my idea about it is so, out far-fetched and, incredible. I mean, it is incredible, but in a very interesting way. And if you haven't seen my videos or my earlier work, check it out, okay? And, the other thing that I just wanted to mention in this video was about this sort of standardization, the polygonal walls, all over the world, that have these nubs that, my buddy there at Ancient History Criticisms talks about so frequently, and in this video, and the bevel block, and with societies that had no knowledge of each other according to mainstream. So, what's the probability of people who had no communication with anybody else coming up with the same exact idea that's so specific, like the clamps? You telling me that just popped in, yeah, let's do this. Well, I can say, well, they did it, and these people lived at different times, and, after reading Mann's book, we don't know what the time periods are. I'm sorry. Their dating is off. They translated things poorly, and this is not like the first time mainstream has translated anything from anything around the world poorly. And it started with the Wilhelms, I think, with the I Ching, and which I've studied quite extensively for like half my lifetime. Okay, I know like everything about it. All right. And Confucius wrote with a commentary to it called the 10 Wings, the I Ching, but the Wilhelms translated it, and they got a lot of the translations wrong because they didn't fully understand, Chinese, at least, that dialect or whatever. And the books, the ancient books that they could find, that weren't destroyed by the European alliance with Japan, and I'm going to go over that in a future video. But in any case, after looking at Man's book and everything, I'm sorry, but these things, it seems totally unbelievable that people would come up with these same specific ideas in different places on Earth independently. It just smacks to me of an older civilization that had worldwide communication, shared ideas, and everything. So, in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button if you kindly would. And I'll be coming out with a new video for you